best part of my life. Don't tell my wife that. But I think I spent 5 years in IIT, and in those days it was a 5-year course. So I spent the full legitimate 5 years and learned a lot. And as you probably heard from many other alums too, there was a lot of learning of values, culture, interpersonal, soft skills, general awareness that happens in the hostels and the corridors, much more than what happens in the classrooms at IIT. So I think there's a lot to learn, team building, just enjoying the different diversity of the kind of people in the cohorts that you get in the hostels. There's just too much to learn, and something to learn and cherish, as well as value as you grow older, because these interpersonal skills and the ability to deal with different conditions in society as you grow are what you learn in those hostel rooms. So there's just so much to learn in IIT. Very true. I think, I really do get nightmares of still not having submitted some assignment or something missing, even today. So, but jokes apart, I think there is no direct correlation between pure academic performance and scores and CPIs and what you make of your life. Certainly, I think there is some indication of where you can get to with your basic inherent. But I think all IITians, having passed through the grind of the entrance as well as the 4 or 5 years of coursework that you do here, have the basic needs that you need. There is nothing in my experience in the corporate world or business world or even technical world out there which a reasonable IITian cannot understand given the time. So as I say, given the time, any IITian can deal with the technical aspects of anything. So academic performance and grades, I don't think matters too much. I think it's some of the other stuff about, as I said, how you interact with people, get the work done, communication, softer skills, etc., that are more important. So I would strongly encourage anybody who's deeply concerned about his academic program in IIT not to be too. I think wrong on anybody's part to say there is a clear path that every individual or every IITian should follow. You got to make your own course. If you really ask me, I didn't know. I went by a path of least resistance. Didn't know what to do after 12th, did engineering. Didn't know what to do after engineering, did sales. Didn't know what to do after that, got into marketing. So you find your way in industry through a very natural process. At least in my case, it was not well thought of. Specifically, why I went to IIM Calcutta was, I think, partly to get back to a campus atmosphere after working for 2 years, go relax for some more time. That was certainly one motivator. But also I realized very quickly that on the one hand, I was not cut out for a very technical, either academic or research kind of a job. At the same time, I was passionate about the industry, chemical industry or the manufacturing industry at large. And I think an MBA program allowed me to do a bit of both. So I was able to complete my general management program, and then get back into chemical engineering industry, if not chemical engineering per se, in the chemical industry to do marketing, general management, sales. When you see the technology platforms that are opening up, there's just too many opportunities in every commercial and technical area from a startup point of view. Specifically on the chemical industry, every industry, well, it's not just, I guess, chemical engineering, but if you take mechanical or civil or whatever it is, the big ticket innovations are done. If you look at, say, chemical engineering as a field, whether it is polymers or petrochemicals or cement or iron or steel or whatever, you're not going to have path-breaking, ground-breaking, drastic changes in that. You will only have, improvements, modifications, tweaks. The innovations in these big molecules or the big-ticket commercial, large-scale production areas are going to be more in terms of, environment or energy management, thermodynamics, or some of these peripheral areas. making it less labor intensive, safety areas. So I think those are the peripheral areas where there will be innovations. But the real chemistry or chemical engineering innovations will then move into the smaller molecules, so then therefore whether it's pharma or specialty chemicals or the nano areas, so I think these minor tweaks will happen, and therefore I would think that if you are interested in that, the chemical engineering part or this chemistry part or the nano engineering part, I think that's where you will have to look for path breaking. Multiple areas, I would think, but the core, I think you have to fundamentally decide whether you want to be in the industry per se, because I find that if you have an academic bent of mind, researcher's mindset, more on the chemistry side and the interaction there, I think that leads you to a slightly different avenues of jobs and opportunities. Whereas if you're more on the general management, administration, chemical engineering, chemical products, chemical industry at a higher level, I think there are hundreds of opportunities, and I think I'm a prime example of that. I have not done any research, I have not spent much time in a lab, but I think if you see what I have done and many other chemical engineering graduates, there's enough opportunities in the chemical industry, even outside of pure academic researcher. At the same time, I'll tell you, I have some very good friends who even today have started from a molecule level and built a plant. World-class plants, making new chemical molecules in India, starting from scratch with their IIT training and their molecular and their interest in the molecules that they've gone after. So it depends. I think opportunities are certainly there for all of you. Plan these steps, they happen along the way, and it is typically one step at a time. You do something, you get the confidence to do something more, you set goals for yourself, and in that sense it's a sort of a gradual progression. It's not that you draw a line from A to B and say by this age I want to do this. Very near impossible to do that. So I think it's a matter of getting passionate about one or two areas that you identify, getting results, and whatever area you choose to try and excel in that field. And I think getting work done from others, getting yourself involved, knowing the depths of the specific job at hand, whether it's the industry or the technical aspects involved, the training that you get from IITs is good enough for all of that. I think this is something that we have spoken a lot about, that IIT gives you the background to tell yourself that whatever area or whatever specific problem that has to be solved in industry or elsewhere, you have the grinding and the training to start from zero and get to a point where you can not only understand but improve on something. You have to make yourself. I think you certainly take inputs from several sources, friends, relatives, seniors, colleagues, read about it or whatever information sources you have. So you must certainly, gather all these information sources and put it all together. But eventually you have to take the call. And I think at the end of the day, it is not a very deep analytical question. I mean, it boils down to common sense once you have put your, the opportunities and your own strengths, weaknesses, or whatever context you have to make a decision. So normally it comes to you, and with the basic intelligence levels of most IITians, I'm very confident that they have the capability to do this. The second thing, of course, to remember is that you will make mistakes. I think there's nobody who's not made a mistake in making key decisions. So learning from those decisions and moving on. And I think at this time, early stage of your career, when you're talking about your first job or your first thing, I was talking to my friend just now, he's 19 years old. I mean, 19 years old, next year he's going to be 20 and he's going to be making some decisions. Sure, he'll probably, but he has so much runway ahead of him that he can afford to make a few mistakes, learn from the knocks, correct himself and move on. So I think, certainly do all the homework, do all the groundwork in terms of information gathering, etc. Take the best choice, but own the decision. I think the main thing is to be able to own the decision and not blame it on somebody. So you have to take that decision yourself. So when you learn, when you correct, you are able to do a much better job. Okay, thank you and all the very best.